So I'm just leaving a little commercial shoot right now, and I wanted to get on here and talk about a particular Reddit post that I saw that I thought was very, very interesting and really resonated with me. And when I read it, I felt like I wrote it myself. So this person is a videographer who recently left their 9-to-5 job to get into videography, and now they're taking on a lot of wedding clients, and business is booming. Business is great. You know, they had a very busy wedding season, so now they're inundated with a bunch of backlog edits because they were busy shooting, so they haven't been able to keep up with the editing. And they're starting to feel that pressure. They're starting to feel a little overwhelmed. And then also they feel like, man, I left my 9-to-5 job to do this wedding thing, but before I was working 9-to-5. Now I feel like I'm working 24/7 because I'm always getting emails from multiple clients. They're asking when their videos are done. Not only that, I don't just do weddings, but I do music videos, I do corporate videos. I take whatever I can get because I don't want to say no to anything, because then I'm afraid I'm not going to get any work. Have we all been there? I'm sure we all have been. And then I have customers reaching out to me to say, hey, can you make this little revision? But what they don't understand is that little revision is not little, and it's going to take me hours to do. So there's another problem. What do you guys do to alleviate some of this stress? I think I keep missing turns. All right, let me pay attention to where I'm going. This person talked about the anxiety that they feel because they're not sure that they're going to satisfy their customers. I mean, how many of us have been there as well? This is something that I battle with all the time, is doing a good job. You know, I would hate to have a wedding couple not be happy with my work and like ruin their wedding day. You know, that's always like in the back of my head. I'm going to ruin these people's wedding day. The memory of their wedding is going to be so tarnished by the poor job that I've done. I've been doing this now for almost 10 years. This has never happened. Like, I've never had a client that complained and like gave me like a 1-star rating or something. That's never happened. One of the things that can alleviate some of the stress, you could hire an editor, right? Because if the editing is what's overwhelming you right now, and it seems like that's a big part of what's overwhelming you, you could outsource. I've tried people that are not the greatest editors, but good. And then I get the project file, whether it's DaVinci or Adobe, whatever you work in, make sure this editor can give you the project file so that if you're not totally satisfied with what they did, you can go in and modify it and get it to where you want. That is something I have to do with editors that are cheap. You know, you're going to have to go back in there and fix it. So it might save you some time, but you still got to do some of the work. Now, if you want to spend some more money and get yourself a really good editor, they will get it to a place where it's completely done. Matter of fact, some of them are so good that they'll get it to a place that is better than what you would have done. And I'm talking about a company like Wanderlust. I used them to do a backlog of edits that I had, and I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the work. It was phenomenal. So, you know, they would do revisions if I needed them, but I think in most cases I didn't even need a revision because the work was really that good. And as you keep working with them, they get to know your style, but they will work with you if you don't like what they did. But I mean, this is high quality work. And the footage that you're watching right now on the screen, these are some of the edits that they did for me. And you can see how amazing it looks. By the way, there's also a discount code in the description below, so you can go ahead and click on that. And if you want to work with them, please click on that link. You won't be disappointed, and you'll save a little bit of money. Here's one of the solutions, right? But the solution creates another problem because now you have to pay for that. How do you offset that? Either you raise your prices of your packages, or you just take on more weddings. Now, getting into the problem of people contacting you and asking when their work is going to be done, I think the solution to that is over communication. What do I mean? When I'm selling to a person, before they even book with me, I let them know what the turnaround time is for the wedding video. After they book with me, I let them know what the turnaround time is when I send them the contract. I send them the contract, and then in the email I say, and just as a reminder, it takes X amount of time to get your video back. Then, once we're at the time where we're going to go over their timeline before their wedding, which is like a couple of days, a week before, whatever, I remind them again, you're going to get your video in 4 months or whatever, or up to 4 months. Then, after the wedding is shot, I will send a thank you email. Oh, such and such, it was such a pleasure being at your wedding. I had such a great time. I can't wait to edit it. It's looking like it may take up to X amount of time for you to get your video. Once you say it like 4 times or so, you rarely are going to get a person who's going to ask you, when am I getting my video? I rarely get that question because I've said it so many times. And as far as revisions go, I don't know what your revisions are like for your wedding couples, but for my wedding couples, I don't give people endless revisions. I only give people, I think it's right now in my contract, it might be 2 revisions. And I define what a revision means. A revision means anything that takes me up to 2 hours of time to change. After that, you get charged an hourly rate if you want me to make changes, because time is money. Moving on to your next issue of people contacting you at all times and making it feel 24/7. I kind of wonder if you're having people contact you through your personal text messaging and cell phone. For those who are using their personal cell phone, I use my personal cell phone, but I use a forwarding service. So I have a business number that gets forwarded to my personal number. So my clients don't know my personal number, and that's phone.com. So once a call comes in through phone.com, I can tell it's coming in through phone.com. So then I know it's business. And when I see it's business and it's not my business hours, I just don't answer it. I let it roll over to voicemail. I don't want to hear it. Also, if they text me, I can also tell that it's coming in through phone.com. I won't read the text if it's not business hours. And then email's real easy because I just turn off the notifications for my email on my phone. So when an email comes in, I don't know. I won't know until I go and check my emails that I got an email. If you're very busy with the weddings, do you really need to do the music videos? Do you need to do the corporate videos? Because if your plate is over full, maybe you should take a little bit off of it to alleviate that stress. Because I used to do the same thing. I take everything, anything that comes through the door, I'm taking it. And then after the fact, I'm like, I didn't even need this. And now I'm stressed out. Now here's one that you mentioned, the 9-to-5 job. I left my 9-to-5. I did the same thing. I left my 9-to-5 to pursue video full time. And like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years now. Nothing wrong with that. But I made a change last year. I went back to a 9-to-5 because the weddings were stressing me so much. You talk about anxiety, talk about a dark cloud hanging over you. I felt the same way for quite a few years. It got to the point that I was so anxious that it would make my back hurt a ton. So I got all this anxiety. I go to the wedding, I'm tight, and then I got to shoot for 8 to 9 hours, and my back feels like it's going to pop in half. I couldn't do that anymore. So I said, you know what? How about we do the weddings on the side? Let's cut them down. Let's take a lot fewer weddings, and let's take a 9-to-5 to get that steady flow of income coming in. How about that? So I did that. Here's the problem with that for me. What I did was I got a video job. That created creative burnout because now I had to be creative with the weddings that I was doing because I was still doing them. I was doing less, but I was still doing them. Then I had to also do all these creative videos for the company I was working for. That was a recipe for disaster. It was too much. My brain was always fried. So I think the 9-to-5 thing or a part-time job to do less of the video work, if it's really, really becoming overwhelming, is not a bad idea, but find the right work to do. Here's the final thing. You really got to ask yourself if you really like what you're doing. Sometimes we outgrow the things that we might have liked in the past. At the beginning, the ideas of shooting weddings was like exciting to me. Right now, I'm taking a break from it. I did not load up my calendar with any weddings for 2025 on purpose. It was really hurting my back physically, and just mentally, the anxiety from them was not feeling good. And so I was like, I'm done with this for now. I'm not gonna say I'm done with it forever, but for now, it's enough. So, that's always a solution. Sometimes just taking a break from the thing and making sure you actually like the thing, right? Because when you're doing it and you're shooting and editing and answering emails and selling and, following up with customers and going to wedding shows and networking with other wedding professionals and doing all the things you're supposed to do, boy, because you're always busy, it's hard to just take that macro look at what's going on. Taking that bird's eye view and really paying attention to what is going on and asking yourself, do I even like this? I mean, for me, I just need to take myself out of it for a while to see if I miss it. And I'm not gonna lie, right now, I don't miss it. So I don't know if I'm gonna return to it. I might, but I'm not sure. So there are a few things, those are quite a few things that anyone dealing with burnout, wedding burnout, some things you could think about, some things you could try, might alleviate some of your stress, some of your worries, some of your anxiety, some of your pain. Perhaps not. As always, I'm Mike Turner. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.